3 wide. We look up to the flag stand. It's going to be your Morecast white flag. It's one more lap to go as Danny Cochran, Vincent Sora, and Jesse Thodak are your top 3 into turn 1.
Who's gonna make it back here to take the checker flag? It's gonna be anybody's game. It was a dead heat almost across the line last time. It was only 0.02 of a second separating our top 3. Let's see what it is this last time as they go down the back straight for the final time here tonight.
Vincent Sora going to be having help, currently leading the charge in the middle groove. Danny Cochran going to be on the inside. Another big surge on the middle groove, but here comes Jesse Thordock. Shelly's going to bump Cody Reed on the outside wall. Ryan Kelly's got to get to linked up with the 14. Bad bump for the 14. Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran, they look good. Who's going to drive down to the apron? Vincent Sora blocks once, he blocks twice. They're still wiggling back and forth, but it's Vincent Sora winning the Daytona 250 here tonight as it's Calamity. It's carnage. It's the big one across the line. Versal top 8, they're on the old tires. Everyone else 4 tires except for Chris Stitz. He took 2. Jones Paint and Designs 140 is back underway. A lot of wheel spin further on back, but here we go. Oh no, it's going to be seen. Noah Steele, that's Travis. It's going to be Downing trying to hold steady as they're faltering backwards. Up front, great launch for also going to be Larry Ely and Cody Reed, but your trouble is Danny Cochran's the one that blitzed on through. The 0-2 is on the charge, and he's the first one with fresh tires.
And he's going to quickly catch up to Larry Yingling. What's he going to do? He's going to split the middle here, but Yingling's going to slide up the track. He's going to have the lift.
He's blocking him. Oh, they're forcing the outside. Down to the inside. Cochran's wrecking right in front of Kelly. Oh no. Jared Tolbert breaks through. The big one. Everyone's piling in. Oh, the madness. Oh no. And everyone's in it. The only ones that made it through was our top 4. Everyone else got a clip of this one. With 3 to go, this is it. Crown a champion. Our first attempt at overtime. Who's taking it here at the end? If we get a yellow on lap 1, we head to overtime attempt number 2. But let's see if we can keep it clean and green. Already going to be seeing drivers going to be side by side, 3 wide deeper in the field. Up front's going to be seeing Jared Talmadge, Vincent Sora, and Talmadge is getting pushed by Thomas Green. Green is forcing the 27 to the lead position. Here we go, Zach, out of 2.
That was huge for Talmadge because Vincent Sora got the restart of his life, stayed side by side, but the 3's push is what propelled him to the lead. But now the 3 looking to the inside. He wants that 3rd victory, and we're going to see some fireworks here, guys.
Christopher Orr is going to be back in 9th place, but up front, it's going to be Jared Talmadge looking up to the flag stand. It's your one more lap to go from Morecast, and it's all spreading up to the outside. Yingling's out of this. It's Vincent Sora's championship to grab, but Christopher Norris is back in 7th place. Off the exit of turn number 2, Jared Talmadge. Do you have everything, or will Christopher Norris find some type of wicked speed? Right now, it looks like the 38 is nowhere to be found. And Jared Talmadge fought, clawed, and will win here at Vegas. They're wrecking behind, but Vincent Sora, take your championship. You're back hoisting the crown. The 15 is your Trinity Racing League Season 1 champion. Before we get to the racing action of the Trinity Racing League Season 3, let's say thank you to some of the amazing sponsors. First and foremost, the title sponsor of Larry Arts Production. We also want to say thank you to SimSam, Blazing Fast TV, Premier Racing Setups, Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios, and finally, Team Watson Racing Setups. Thank you so much for all the sponsors. Now let's get to the racing action. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night. Tonight, we give the coverage of the Trinity Racing League, presented by Larry Arts Production. Season 3 certainly is starting off with a bang. 3 races, 3 different winners. And coming off the back of a fantastic Bristol race with only 10 cautions being thrown, the drivers of the Trinity Racing League might be on a little bit of a high. Some excited for tonight. It's the first time we're going left and right and going a little bit up and down, as others wish that this week would pass sooner than later. It's going to be one of a few road courses ran this season, and it certainly should have its fun as we're bringing it to the Lone Star State for the COTA circuit. And it's not your normal circuit these drivers are going to be handling. We're not going the full length. It's going to be a little bit shorter, just 2 miles in distance, 17 corners, and it should be a fun one as the drivers get ready to tackle the Texas Showdown, presented by SimSam for the Circuit of the Americas, otherwise known as COTA. It's the short course. It's the West course, the one that NASCAR was running. They decided, you know what, let's not do the full course. Let's have a little bit more of a shorter one. And the drivers have been testing out this course, and they have found it is a quick one. Drivers are going to be putting down some very fast times, but it is constant action. And we're proud to give you all that action here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me this evening is Zach Hall. We're happy to have Zach back in the booth with us. Zach, it certainly is going to be a fun race here this evening. Our first road course of the season. We've got a couple on the docket here this season, but the COTA short course, certainly an interesting one to start our road course season off with.
That it is, Sam. Yeah, this one could be a chaotic one, man, for sure. I'm excited. Glad to be back up in the booth, of course, and back here, of course, with Trinity. And I mean, you look at this view. We're seeing it on the screen. I think this gives you a better point of view than really you get to see from some of the other cameras. Look at how big that climb is up to turn 1. When we get that first start of the race, it's going to be wild to see all 38 cars we've got so far signed up heading into turn 1. It's going to be mayhem. So I think really cool to see him doing this course too. I think it adds a little bit more, technical shortness of where the straightaways just aren't as long. You don't really have the aspect of Formula One like you need for some of their passing that they need. So I think it's good to see these tight little twisty bits of the track, and it's definitely going to be an action-packed one all the way through.
It certainly should be, as race 4 last season was a road course at the Red Bull Ring, and it was the start of a lot of drama. Some said that short tracks are where the drama begins. Well, last season, it was at the Red Bull Ring. First corner, first contact from the front runners that took each other out between Jared Talmadge and Thomas Green. That caused a little bit of a drama and a kind of a rift between the two. Tonight, whose rift could we be seeing that could be taken off? Because this first corner could start some hectic madness, and we're excited to give you all that action here this evening as drivers get ready for qualifying. Qualifying's going to be a fun one because it is going to be based off of just 2 laps given to the drivers. They've got 10 minutes to do so because it's how long it is to get around this track. Just to start your first lap, they need that extra time, but getting the incident point of off tracks, it's going to be hard to get them. I was talking to some of the drivers. There's certain corners where you can easily get an off track corner cutting. The S's is going to be a difficult spot, but everywhere else on course, practically you have to drive through the grass if you're going to get an incident point that will invalidate your lap time. So Zach, this is going to be interesting to see how drivers want to abuse and use the off track limits that are available to them.
That is for sure, Sam. We look at this track, you see the painted lines on it. Throw all those painted lines, other than really the S's, out of the playing field. This becomes pretty much go where you can find the space, and from there, that's kind of where you got to keep it on track, because that next spot of room usually is against a wall or farther out into the grass. So it'll be spots where they're going to explore, and you're going to see them using every little bit of runoff they can here. But there is ways to still make mistakes in those runoff areas that can kind of lead to issues. So we'll see how that works out through the night. But I'm very excited to see how they attack it, of course, because you can see here watching, I believe there's Richard, Wolfsfer here in the 56 go through the really technical bit of this racetrack there for like 13, 14 and 15 of the corners around here. And for here, you can really utilize a lot of runoff here in this corner especially, and you can see most for not really utilizing it, but sometimes you almost want to stay a little bit shorter in there because you get that straighter drive off instead of carrying the speed. So you'll see two different approaches there. But I think the one spot that we'll see all night long, Sam, where they really abuse that runoff area is in this corner right here. You're going to want to use every little bit of this track out here into the gray and then back onto the racing surface before the final corner.
I mean, it is going to be a lot of find your speed, and it's going to be a fun one to watch here this evening. Again, thank you for joining with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Happy to give you the call here this evening of the Trinity Racing League as some drivers are starting their first laps of the evening. We've had 3 different pole sitters this season, being Jackson Anderson taking the first initial pole, then Gavin Rogers getting it out of Auto Club, and then last week, Cedric Hunter grabbing his first career pole for that team. We'll see if maybe we could see our first multi-time pole sitter award winner this season. And one of the main drivers of note to watch out for is Gavin Rogers. 75 has looked very quick in practice. Curious on how we can translate that as in a sense of the shortcut that these drivers go through. That little corner cutting their way around. That is cutting this track into a lot much more of a shorter, easier, digestible course compared to the full COTA circuit that F1 races on. As you're seeing, Richard Wolsifer going into what we call Sector 3, the last little bit of this course. And like you said, Zach, the technical portions that these drivers got to be careful of, and Richard's very close to grazing the grass. I'm concerned about this lap maybe being invalidated for that 56 team.
Yeah, exactly. You can still get those off tracks. You know, you can utilize a lot of the track, but if you stick a tire off in the grass or something, and especially in the S's, you get a little too much to the inside of the curb, you can catch an off track that will eliminate that lap time. So don't want to be doing that there in qualifying because that will really hurt your chances because you only have one more opportunity after you lose that first kind of mulligan lap. But we'll see what Wolsifer can put down. But I can repeat, I was watching Gavin Rogers. He actually had to reset the pit road. So some issues there for the 75 team.
As first drivers putting in their times, and currently it's going to be our points leader, Clayton Montgomery, a 1:43.9. Going to be the fast time for the number 1 teammate. Alan Elwood, former points leader, going to be now in second on the board. And these times going to be slightly slower than they were during practice. The track has heated up since the practice time for the drivers. Around 110 degrees was the track temp during practice. It did dip a little bit lower, up to the higher margins here tonight in the mid 110s these drivers are dealing with. So Zach, the lap times that we saw in practice, not going to be as compatible to kind of compete back and forth with, but it will help us at least gauge on some of the fast drivers to watch out for here this evening, as only 10 drivers gotten their times in. But here we go. It's about to be rapid fire on drivers getting their times counted or not, because there's actually more than half the field's times have been invalidated on their first lap.
It just shows you again, yeah, it's the NASCAR track limits are lenient, but there is spots you can get them very easily, especially when you're attacking this course at full pace like these drivers are doing. And that can be a very frustrating thing to do for some of these guys, because it's just you make that one simple mistake and then you got to reset kind of your mind and then come back around and not make that same mistake. And it's easy to do twice. So we'll set to see if anybody else invalidates their lap twice. Luckily, only 38 cars here tonight, so no worries of not making the show.
You know, we always talk about money lap. Is it lap 1? Is it lap 2? Zach, I'm assuming lap 1 is your money lap when we talk about how road courses are ran, but are you feeling like lap 2 could be a little bit of a pickup these drivers could find as majority of the field continues to race on into their second lap?
It will be interesting. You know, normally with this Xfinity car, you kind of want to have that first lap be the money one, because tire wear does matter in this car. It is one of the cars where, in my opinion, the wear kind of matters a little bit more. And from what I've been watching, a lot of guys, they are sliding the rears like a lot through some of these high-speed corners. So it might be that first lap that really is that banker money lap, so to say, because I think once you get that second lap, your tires are going to be so overheated, especially you're attacking the course a little too hard. So I would expect the first one to be the best, but I could see some people pick up, especially if they make mistakes for that first one.
As Clayton Montgomery going to be top of the board currently. We'll see if that holds strong, because there's still a lot of fast drivers yet to set a time for themselves. Ryan Kelly Gonna be third fastest. Second fastest is Nicholas Renner. Renner gonna be 3 drivers that will start tonight's race off with an end-of-the-line penalty. Renner and Danny Cochran, though, both have a drive-through penalty on top of that to serve, as they both collected an L1 for multiple races of cause of fault. So the 18, the 44, they will have to start at the end of the line and do a drive-through to start this race off. And there is no caution that will be thrown unless there is a full blockage of the course that needs to throw a yellow. So that could be already a race ruined for the 18, the 44. And Tanner Johnson, the other driver, has end-of-the-line penalty after a failed choose line violation. So we'll see that 32 opting to probably not qualify, but we'll see how they run in the back, trying to take some of these spots away, as Montgomery still holds strong with a 143.987. And looking at these other times, Zach, I mean, I'm still looking to see where Jared Talmadge places himself. Trenton Jump, Danny Cochran wants to set a good time. Nick Crawford still hasn't set a lap yet. There are some shocking names, as Gavin Rogers is top of the board.
And that's a really good lap from Roger, especially the pressure of having the reset. So good job for him to jump up there. But one thing I'm hearing, Sam, and I'm not surprised by this, we have a thing in iRacing called qualifying scrutiny, folks, out there. And what qualifying scrutiny is kind of its goal to get is to pretty much not have any tire cheesing. And what we mean by that is just overheating the tires by unnecessary means of like spinning the tires, sliding the race car. And sometimes I've had this actually happen to myself when they first implemented this back, years ago. If you're on a road course, sometimes you slide that rear end just a little bit too much. And next thing you know, you're getting that furled black flag. That ruins the lap. You don't even get an incident point. You have to wait until the next time you come back around. So it is very frustrating. I can tell you as myself, I felt like it almost stole a pole position away from me before, because it just takes your lap away, and it really just the smallest slide can do it. So I think a few of these guys are having that happen.
Well, looking at who's still out on track and who can maybe set a time, that's nobody. It is over and done. Qualifying is over for the field, and it's Gavin Rogers who will take your Blazing Fast TV Pulse Sitter Award. If you're looking for a chill, relaxing stream, head on over to Blazing Fast TV on Twitch and YouTube and go check out the point of view from Dakota Moniz, as he's racing almost nightly. Every night he's out there having fun. Also, if you want to check out some of his content, you can check out Blazing Fast TV on all the socials and on YouTube, as well as all live streams on Twitch as well as on YouTube at the same time. Qualifying is over. What a run for the field, as after qualifying, we will have a 5-minute warm-up period for the field if they want to put in any final practice in, get any rest, they got to go to the bathroom, grab a snack. But for us, it allows us to take a deeper look of how the season's been so far. I know it's only 3 races in, but it's 3 critical races, because we got a lot of drivers that are missing out on tonight's race, and 2 names that are crazy to see as we bring up the point standings is the drivers on the outside of the cut line. That's going to be the Presley brothers, Vincent Sora, as well as Presley Sora, 16th and 17th in points. But Zach, both taking provisionals here tonight. They will not be racing.
Yeah, the Sora brothers, I believe, both at Indianapolis, so weren't able here to make it tonight. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Vinny's coming off a win at Bristol, and of course Presley's had not the greatest start either. So it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle for them, but we know how good a drivers they are, and we'll see if they can make that climb. But definitely some drivers who are making some big ground up here through early in the season also.
And some of the other drivers that will be missing out on tonight's race that were already asking for provisionals: Alex Fuller, Chris Stamper, Dakota Moniz, Matthew Pavlik, as well as Jesse Thornick, joining the Sora brothers on their decisions not to race here tonight for their own choices or kind of out of their own will, and had to bounce out. But, looking at the other side of the point standings, I got to say, there's some surprising drivers that are at the top of that list. Congratulations to the rookie driver of Clayton Montgomery. Great, excellent start for themselves, Clinton Cox. And then surprisingly, tied with Clinton Cox in second in points, Cody Reed. And all 3 of those drivers hoping for a good run here tonight, continuing on that momentum. As we move on over to the schedule, because it has been a fun season of ups and downs, but it doesn't get much easier after tonight is kind of the easy, get it out of the way. First 4 races are done, but then we get to the actual racing aspect that the drivers are waiting for. Your traditional ovals, Michigan, Las Vegas, Richmond, Chicagoland. That's when we get to the meat and potatoes of, I think we're going to see the consistency show up of who are our championship contenders before we head over to Spa in the middle of September. But Zach, I got to say, the first 4 races, it has shown a lot of glimpses of who those drivers are to watch out for once the championship starts up.
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, there's been some big names for sure. I mean, even in the pole setter list, those 3 have really been great drivers all throughout this. And then, of course, our winners of Alan Elwood, Jarrett Talmadge and Vincent. It's just a really heavy hitting field. And as we get farther into this schedule, Michigan, Las Vegas, Richmond, Chicago, and Milwaukee, and it didn't go to Spa. I mean, it's really going to be a huge mix up. And I can't wait to kind of see that, points kind of crunch together, because it always does. You have these early races where things go wrong for people and kind of hurts them early, but then they find that momentum later. So it'll be a good thing to watch out for.
As the field is finishing up their warm-ups, this is our time that we have our pick'ems. Who are drivers we feel like are those to watch out for? And, I went with an obvious pick. I've been going with the easy one. I feel like I've got the right to pick the pick. I'm going to go with Gavin Rogers as my driver to watch out for. I think he's going to be the driver that is going to win, get his first one of the season. This 75, we know he's going to get into victory lane at some point this season, and tonight could be the night that he starts the potential sweep of the road courses.
I like that one, Sam. Definitely do. I'm going to have to go with the guy starting second to him, the 27 car of Jarrett Talmadge. I think Jarrett is going to be really impressive here tonight, especially with his race pace. I think that's where his strength might show up. And I think he's going to be a tough one to beat. So I think these two could have a titanic battle.
Hey, not a bad pick at all. Last time we raced at an F1 styled road course was at the Red Bull Ring last season for race 4. Jarrett got the pole that race, but got caught up in a wreck. And who did he get caught up in a wreck with? With the 3 machine of Thomas Green. And that's going to be Robert's pick to watch out for. Thomas Green's kind of been a driver that everyone's been watching. Set a very fast time early in practice. Everyone was analyzing it, trying to figure out how to nitpick a little bit here and there. I think that's going to be a fun driver to see how he can find another edge on top of the rest of the field. But Zach, we're at a road course. What are you expecting to really watch out from this field?
I think the number one thing to start this race especially was the green flag drops. Survive turn 1, lap 1, because it is going to be chaos heading up towards that hill. It can spread out 3, 4 wide because of how that wide that apex is, and it could narrow up very quickly on that exit. So we'll have to watch out for that for sure. We know we've had a lot of first lap incidents here at road courses in the past. Next thing, keep it on the course. Look, when I say course 2, I'm not saying the painted course. I'm saying the asphalt. You got to be able to use the track, but don't get too much because you're going to end up in trouble. Number 3, don't overheat the tires. We've already had that talk about guys sliding and getting furrow black flags that ruin their lap. Well, if those tires are going to overheat all throughout this race, the driver that does it the best of managing that temperature battle is going to be the race winner here tonight.
I love those key moments to watch out for, Zach, and for the field. They're ready. The racing action about to begin here from Texas. Practice is over, qualifying's over, the warm-up finishes up, and all that's left is 40 laps of COTA racing action. These drivers will have 0 fast repair, 4 extra sets of tires in pit road. Fuel doesn't look to be too big of an issue. It's when do you need to pit for tires? Is it 1 time? Is it 2 times? And ultimately, the field is set and ready to go. Here will be your Blazing Fast TV starting grid. On top of the board, grabbing his 2nd pole of the season. It's the 75 of Gavin Rogers. To his outside, going to be the 27 of Jarrett Talmadge. Behind them in 3rd place will be the number 1 of Clayton Montgomery, your points leader. Starting with an end-of-the-line penalty as well as a drive-through penalty. It's 4th place qualifier of Nicholas Renner. In 4th and 5th place, we find Thomas Green with Ryan Kelly in 6th. 7th, we find Trenton Jump. Chris Stitz in 8th. 9th will be Alan Elwood. And finishing out our top 10, it's the 49 of Ryan Bird.
Starting in 11th, going to have to watch out for this driver. Definitely one of the road course aces. That's going to be Christopher Norris. In 12th, it's going to be Ali Fonseca. In 13th, it's going to go to Larry Yingling, another past road course winner here. In 14th, it's going to be Nick Crawford. Danny Cochran going to start in 15th. He's got that drive-through, same as Nicholas Renner. 16th is going to go to Joshua Kanata. 17th is going to be the 50th Samuel Garcia. Cody Reed's going to start 18th. Cedric Hunter, last week's pole Cedric, going to start 19th. And rounding out the top 20, it's the 01 Aaron Kralik.
Then we find ourselves in 21st position with a debut driver. That's going to be TJ Yankee, who will be making a part-time running at only the road courses. Comes in with pretty high road course experience, but in this car, complete rookie. We'll see how the 28 can fray in 21st position. In 22nd spot, we find the 99 of Michael Miller with Ethan Smith in the 00 in 23rd. Richard Wolsifer will be starting in 24th with Mark Lavertone in 25th. Back in 26th, kind of deep in the field, but we'll see how he can march his way forward. The 83 of Jackson Anderson. Then we find Clint Cox in 27th. 28th, we find the 39 of Zachary Wake. 29th position, we find the 91 of Mark Morales, and finished out our top 30, it's the 77 of Joshua Stovall.
Starting in 31st, it's going to be the 47 of Dalton Hayes. In 32nd, it's going to be the 98 of Isaac Shelley. 33rd is going to go to the 57 of Thomas Walter. Stephen Clapp is going to start in 34th. 35th is going to go to Ryan Boucher. Tanner Johnson is going to be 36. Joshua Sawyer is going to be 37th, and rounding our 38 cars here tonight is the 33 of Trevor Benz.
Trevor Benz is having some disconnection issue, so he will be missing out on the start of the race, but a few drivers getting ready. How will tonight finish out? First road course of the season. You got your favorites. You got some drivers that are expected to drive through the field. You know, looking from practice times, Ali Fonseca, one of those that had a 5th place practice time, did not qualify as well as he was hoping in 12th position, but his goal is the top 10. But up front, Gavin Rogers, Thomas Green, win is what they would love to have for themselves. See how well they can climb through the field. But Zach, any final thoughts as we're taking the final corners before we get to Green Flag Racing?
It's going to be an interesting one, Sam. I really like this lineup of drivers here we got tonight. I think we'll see if Gavin Rogers has tamed those issues of what he's had in this Xfinity car when it comes to the road courses. Some of these guys have had a little bit better race pace, but we'll see if he's got it all figured out here tonight. We know he's got the pace when it comes to all-out speed.
This will be the 5th time the Trinity Racing League has come to a road course. Of the 4 past, 2 of the past winners have won from the pole. The other 2 have led the most laps. The question is, who's ready for the Texas Showdown presented by Sim Sam? Gavin Rogers, Jarrett Talmadge, and the rest of the hungry field sits behind as we enter the restart zone. It's Green Flag Racing from the Circuit of Americas as the drivers ramp up the hill down into turn number 1, already fanning out 2, 3, 4, almost 5 wide as the hard breaking into turn number 1, scattering around. It's Gavin Rogers, Jared Thomas, good run for themselves. A little bit of haywire for Christopher Norris as well as Alan Elwood, but they look good. But here comes the next tough part. Zach, it's the S's where the field is side by side where you don't want to be.
That it is, Sam. Yeah, you don't want to be side by side through here. And look at Jarrett Talmadge. He was able to get a great start in turn 1. He is cleared to the lead, now up in position. Ryan Kelly up the 3rd, and look at the mosh pit from behind. It's 2x2 heading into the middle sector.
And already spins contact, try and jump, going to be spinning in front of the field. Going to be seeing multiple drivers toss to the inside. They try to get centered up as quickly as possible, but hard contact for a few, and it's the 46 in the 3 machine that take the brunt of it. Thomas Green did not want that start of the race as he is still being pounced and hunted as moving forward. Going to be a bunch of drivers. Biggest mover so far, Cody Reed in 6th place, up 12 spots. Other drivers, there's a couple in the middle of the field that are up 10, but the battle for the lead is underway as Gavin Rogers, he lost the lead through the S's, but on the 3rd sector of this track, trying to take that lead position back.
And he is using some tire. I'm seeing the tire marks be left down from that left rear tire. He's going to clear Talmadge, but I can tell you what that did, Sam. That used a lot of tire there and heat build up from there. If I'm Talmadge, I'm just sitting here trying to maybe just think him and make him use his equipment and maybe pounce later. But now Rogers showing he's got the pace back out front in control of this race. But man, you just talked about Cody Reed there, Sam, about how big of moves he's made. he made a gigantic move there, and that's what it was kind of all involved with that Trenton jump area. You know, it was 2x2 Trenton jump in the 3 of Thomas Green going down there, and Cody Reed came from like 3 rows back, made it 3 wide, and cleared both of them as they got caught up with each other. So he did an excellent job there, as now we see our penalty takers coming to pit road.
And that's going to be Danny Cochran as well as Nicholas Runner. Just so you drive through penalty, and then they are served their L1. So unfortunate to have that at a road course where you know there is no dedicated caution that will be thrown, and there is no competition caution. There's no stage yellow, but there is a bonus point for leading at the halfway point of this race. As a driver going around, that's Isaac Shelley in the 98. That's one of my dark horse drivers I'm going to take note on to watch out for. When we come to a road course, that 98 is usually in the top 15. Not the case. He's back in 35th now after losing every spot possible.
Definitely have seen the passing be a huge factor for sure, but that's tough for him. As now we look to Ryan Bird, who's also been a very consistent road course racer. He's racing with Alan Elwood, who Elwood is lucky to be in the position he is because it was him and Christopher Norris who came to blows down in the turn 1. It was almost 4 wide with those guys, so they luckily all make it out of that somehow clean. But Elwood now fighting on the back bumper of this 49 for position.
Behind them, though, the drivers are getting a little bit antsy. That's going to be Richard Wolfsfer as well as seeing Jackson Anderson. They kind of got muscled out of the way as the 46 of Trenton jump in the 3 of Thomas Green, who were involved in that first lap fiasco through the short chute, found themselves being the fast drivers that are just trying to spearhead their way back into the top 15.
Thomas Green, I've checked out a few moments with him, Sam, going back through there. He is just getting ran into constantly. He has got a very damaged car in that 3 machine, who, I ain't gonna lie, I expected that 3 to be a factor for this victory here tonight, just with his past race pace experience at these road courses. But with the damage he's gotten, fell back to 15th, he's just going to look to have the salvage today and do the best he can, as now Christopher Norris and Nick Crawford continue their battle here for a top 10.
And teammates working together with one another, 38-74, long-time duos. They've also won at a lot of road courses. Thinking to our Freaky Fast charity race at the beginning of the year, they have won back-to-back in the GT3 class. So these two know how to get around a road course. The thing is how patient are you willing to be as multiple drivers staying side by side, but Richard Wolfsfer burning it down and keeping it together as there's that Sim Sam 50 machine getting on through Samuel S. Garcia. Able to sneak by Richard Wolfsfer, and there's going to be the 7 of Cedric Hunter, who, Zach, I mean, you can touch on it. Cedric at road courses, it's kind of a coin toss on what we're going to see.
It really is a Cedric. You know, he is definitely a driver I feel like that is very, very good at road courses, but I feel like Coda is such a different road course than a lot of the tracks. I feel like this is a track where you have to use a lot of the racetrack kind of attack. And look at Wolfsfer kind of take the line away from the 50 of Samuel Garcia back there. Those two continue to squabble, but it is a track you have to really get out there, use all the racetrack, and I feel like he's one of those drivers that kind of just sticks to the white lines. And there goes Richard. I think he might have got some help.
A little bit of a bump and a shove and a get out of the way. Now, these drivers do have to be careful. There is an incident limit here tonight. Now, you're not going to get a lot of incidences by going super wide, but contact between drivers will give you a lot of incident points, and you got to be careful not to overzealously make contact with other drivers, as you only have 28 points to work with. As up front, this is the battle for drivers in the top 5. Ali Fonseca, Cody Reed, Chris Nitz, and the 24 is rolling right now. Ali is looking quick, as also seeing Cody Reed side by side, and teammates better be careful because Stitz will pounce if these two make a mistake.
That they will, and right there, he might have cut the course a little too much in the 24. I mean, it's definitely interesting to see how much you can use, but I think he's good for the time being, just going to have to hold back the 17, but a little contact is made as it gets really tight on the exit of 6A there as you head down towards 6B.
6A, 6B, and then, this is traditionally turn 12 for the full course of COTA, so we'll continue with turn 12 there. Hard braking zone as we get into the technical area, as drivers bobbing and weaving side by side, trying to keep it close. Is now Larry Yingling going to be in a Trenton jump and Thomas Green sandwich. I mean, Zach, we could see that damage on the 3 machine, and the reason why we talked so highly of Green, he's won the last 2 road courses at Sonoma Raceway and Watkins Glen, found his way leading the most laps at both races. At Sonoma, led 46 of 50. At Watkins Glen, the most recent road course, was 58 out of 60 laps. not going to be up front. Heavy trouble. This is a much different type of a road course race that Thomas Green is having. This is pretty similar to the way that he raced at the Red Bull Ring all the way back at the beginning of season 2.
Definitely so, and I don't know if we can get like a kind of a close look at the nose of his race car, but some of these shots you can get it, and you can even see the side. Look here, this shot we get here. It is very hurt, and what I don't like to see the most is the splitter, the bottom part of that car is just super uneven, and it's just not filling out the racetrack. You can see when he brakes, it's not even sitting fully on the racetrack. That's just loss of downforce and loss of grip. Is up ahead of him, the Wrecking.
Up ahead, going to be seeing a couple of drivers going for a spin. It's Christopher Norris going to be seeing Ryan Bird shuffling around, causing multiple drivers to go wide. As the 38 into the grass, he's got to get back up on course. Don't know if we've got the replay of that, but 38 and the 49 coming to blows off the exit of turn number 1 as they were battling for position.
And it all kind of started there in the entry of 1, Sam. It was really the 38 made a huge lunge, but also Bird, as he saw that lunge coming, kind of turned in. I don't know if he was looking in the mirror expecting the lunge. It may have turned in normally, and I think that made, I guess, Norris mad, and he just ran him out so wide that really Bird had nowhere to go except fight back onto the track. So I can't really blame the 49 too much for this at all.
No, and it's kind of one of those things of if you're going to race me that aggressively, you better hope that you're side by side enough that when I come back onto the racing surface, you're not being tossed around like that. It hurts both drivers, but a big scare for the 46 and the 3 machine, and Jackson Anderson taking a big advantage for the 83 team as they're able to drive on by. But Christopher Norris not going to fall back to battle for 20th. But here's going to be Zachary Wink as Stovall gets a little bit of contact from the 03 of Clint Cox. Our driver that's tied for second in points, making the move to get by Stovall. And these two had a little bit of contact last season. Don't want to continue on their duels that you thought that you might have squabbled and gotten rid of over the offseason. I had to bring back a couple of these rivalries that we didn't get to see here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting and relive them here for Season 3.
Yeah, that's for sure. And Ethan Smith getting a good view of it here. Stovall really loose there into the braking zone. It looks like his tires are very overheated as now Cox going to move back to the inside. Will the fireworks fly or will the 03 make the clean pass? That's going to be the question.
Who is willing to play nice? Who is willing to be more aggressive than others? Christopher Norris going to be stopped on the outside. There's that 38 white machine as he is trying to get rolling once again. A bad entry into turn number 1. And I think Christopher Norris might be broke. There is a major issue with the 38 team where the handling is just not right. And it's kind of similar to what the 3 of Thomas Green's dealing with, where it's just so unsettled when you go into the braking zone. At 38, he might come into the pits and get that damage repair, or he could be calling it sooner than later as he runs in 27th.
That's for sure, Sam. And, when we talk about road courses a lot of times, you kind of compare them to short tracks where, the aerodynamics are not as big a factor. But I can tell you this much, Skoda kind of takes that and throws it out the window because, yes, there's tight, twisty bits of this racetrack where it really takes putting the power down and the mechanical grip to get around here. But you also have very high-speed corners around here, especially through the S's. And those final really 5 to 6 corners of the racetrack, you're really just carrying a lot of speed, and once you get up to speed, downforce always is going to be a factor in race cars. So if you lose some downforce, you're going to immediately feel it in those corners, especially as we check back up to race leader Gavin Rogers, who right now, Sam, he's doing everything perfect. Right now, matching lap times with our second place car, and that's all he really needs to do with the gap he's got.
Also getting by some lap traffic, that's Nicholas Renner that will be going 1 lap down, and it was kind of a game that some of the drivers were talking about during practice was when were we going to see our first lap traffic issue might pop up, or at least see the first lap car. And with having 2 drivers, being Danny Cochran as well as Nicholas Renner, having drive-through penalties, it was bound to happen in the first 10 laps of this race. But I think later on, we'll see how the lap cars and lead lap drivers want to race around one another. As watching Zach, this field is certainly having the handful of trying to make it around this course as much as possible, as Christopher Norris once again parking to the side, trying to figure out what's wrong with a racing wheel, it seemed like. I think that's what I heard Nick Crawford say over the radio. So we're hoping to see that 38 take off, but he is sitting in a very precarious spot as someone decides to go for a big dive ball move into 1. I'm nervous for that as well, as we have lost the 98 of Isaac Shelley.
That we have. Yeah, it's up for Isaac Shelley, who, again, kind of big expectations, almost an X factor, like you said, Coney, here tonight. But unfortunately, Coda was not his cup of tea. Is right here. Look at this. The 42 of Mark Labertone taking it to Richard Wolfsford. And gotta give Labertone credit, man. He's running a good race right now, making some great passes. He's going to break into the top 20 as Wolfsford. He has used those tires up, Sam. I've seen him slide multiple times. I talked about it where he got loose and pushed wide here before. I said it might have been a little bit of contact. It was no contact from Garcia earlier, so just sliding.
Yeah, and this is a group of drivers that all are in a learning phase of how to race around one another, as the 28 trying to make all the moves that they can. The 28 being TJ, going to be seeing Yankee, and Yankee debut race, and you got to be careful because you got two drivers, one of Richard Wolfsford that's trying to figure out how to race around a new group of drivers, as he's raced around a couple of these guys, but Mark Labertone, who we have seen grow each and every season he is racing. There are times of inexperience that shows up. Zachary Wake making his debut season. This is a lot of new, as the 28 also getting used to a brand new vehicle for himself, who's known for racing a lot more of the normal road course vehicles that iRacing provides, and the supercars as well as sports cars. And here tonight, testing out the stock cars at Coda.
I love seeing that. I think it's cool to have someone who's kind of doing just the one-offs for road courses that doesn't really run like oval stock car stuff, just kind of runs the road courses. I kind of liken it to, like NASCAR when some guys from Europe come over and stuff. So definitely cool to see them come.
Oh,
try
contact,
it out.
Wake into Labertone. And that is not the driver that you want to accidentally make contact with. Labertone has a long memory, and Stovall makes a contact, gets into Clint Cox, and Stovall, utilizing the 42, has a little bit of a pond to get around some other drivers.
Wow, this is some intense racing back here in this grouping, man. This has been fun to watch. These guys go to battle, and that's what's great about Coda. You got so many corners that go, left, right, right, left. Like, there's so many switching corners that you can do so many different moves, and it really is what makes the character of this track amazing.
Who's willing to make the big move now? As there's the Brown crew himself, Joshua Stovall, was running the UPS sponsored machine for so long. That's where he got the nickname, as he had lots of fans cheering on the 77. He was the one at the time, and taking on the number of the 77, as he wanted to bring on the Carson Hocevar personality on track, of willing to make big diving moves, willing to make the high pressure accounts. And Zach, you talked about different ways you could attack the course. Well, you saw it right there. Zachary Wake aggressively taking to the outside, maybe a little bit too far as he touches the gravel, as the 77 took the more early approach. That's giving him the setup to try to keep it close to 38.
Very interesting approach there for sure from all these guys. They head to the S's, one of those technical bits of the racetrack. But it's been good races so far. I'm watching, kind of monitoring lap times, seeing how tires are falling off, and we are seeing some decent bit of fall off for some of these guys in tires wise. We're starting to see over a second from a few of them, and I think that'll only continue the trend to worse here, as I think most people, Sam, most likely are going to look to cut this race in half and probably pit around lap 20. But we'll definitely have to see how some of these guys play it with strategy.
You got a fan for that TJ Yankee machine, as he's currently running in the middle of the field, trying to continue on a good run. He's speaking about a good run. Cody Reed, one of those early drivers that took the opportunity to gain track position with other drivers' misfortunes. The 25 running in 6th place, but it's Alan Elwood right behind him in the 9. Zach, Cody Reed, a driver that we know just oozes confidence. Here tonight, talked to him and said, hey, how do you feel about winning? He said a top 10 would be practically feeling like a win. So I think right now, Cody's doing exactly what he wants to do.
And when you come in with that mindset, in my opinion, and you're running like inside your goal, it actually motivates you to continue. Like it really does kind of help to set the bar right for yourself, I feel like, because if you try to shoot too high or you shoot too low, it kind of just ruins all the motivation. So got to give Reed a good credit here tonight. He did an excellent job on that start. I think some of the guys are going to go back and watch that restarts and watch that first lap and go, I was just not aggressive enough with covering off the inside. And he was the driver really making the moves to the inside, and it paid off. He didn't At least what I saw, didn't make a contact with anybody. He got through there clean, and he is definitely took advantage of it. So excellent opportunity from that driver for sure.
Right behind Cody's going to be Alan Elwood, who runs about a half second back, but running slightly faster than the 25 team. And I'm curious on for Alan Elwood, when will he decide to pounce to go for a pass? Chris Stitz has also been lingering there just in the shot of the 25, but they've been running pretty equal distance. But Zach, I mean, Chris Stitz, a driver that we've seen get at least one win a season. I'm curious on where he might find that victory for the 17, or will it all come into batches later on in the season where he really shows the most strength for the 17 team?
He is definitely one of those drivers that really closes the season strong. I've always known that about him since racing him and calling him over here. So it's always been fun. And look at this, Trenton Jump and Thomas Green, the two that were connected fates from the very beginning of this race. Well, they've caught up to Nick Crawford here, and this is a battle for ninth here. Thomas Green going to look to get in the top 10. Trenton Jump going to be looking to get into a top 9 position and continue their march forward and maybe have an opportunity before this race to get a few more.
I mean, Trenton Jump, Thomas Green, if you look back to the history books of Monday night calling races here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Before Trinity, it was a truck series known as the ISRC Truck Series, and they ran 8 seasons. The second season, Trenton Jump won that championship, and at that time, I think the best driver of that season was either Trenton Jump or Thomas Green. A driver that watched the championship fight at Homestead, who thought, you know what, that's some fun racing, I want to race with those guys, was Nick Crawford, who came back 2 seasons after watching the great battle that allowed Trenton Jump to get into the championship. Crawford then won the championship for that ISRC Truck Series. It is so fun to see the histories align with drivers and the fact that they get to race each other now in the Trinity Racing League. But right now, Nick Crawford under fire as Jump, as well as Thomas Green. They look much quicker, but the tough aspect, where do you even attempt to make a pass? Because the 74 is certainly making the track quite wide.
Yes, he's getting good exits too. Yeah, that's just Nick Crawford, I think, being very much a veteran. He's not overdriving. He's going to underdrive everything here and make it more difficult on the driver behind him to get those runs and set it up. So Jump's going to have to be kind of aggressive here to make something happen, because Crawford's just doing a good job of backing the corner up and making sure he has a good enough run to where he's not alongside him. And I think right here was a good chance, but he just pushed a little too wide there for carrying the speed. So maybe down to 1 as he gets right up to that bumper here on the exit, and that'll help spook maybe that 74 to press the gas a little too much.
Well, if you're able to, out in chat, we would love to see, who are you rooting for? Who's your favorite drivers, and who do you think is going to find himself into victory lane here tonight? It's looking good for Gavin Rogers. For our first green flag pit stop of the day, Jackson Anderson hitting pit road. And Zach, at the timing of this pit stop, Anderson might be going with the gamble of a 2-stop strategy here tonight.
He very well might, and it's going to be close for more fuel. I'd imagine you could probably on a full tank go 28 here to the end, but that's just putting a lot of faith in those Goodyear tires to get you all the way around this track constantly each and every lap. So we'll see what he does. Maybe he's looking to do a 2-stop strategy to kind of split this up a little bit more to help himself out, but definitely not what you want to have happen too many times, where you have to pit too early here, because it can kind of put you in a bad spot at road courses.
And right now going to be coming out on track right behind 3 drivers that have been racing quite aggressively around each other. That's Danny Cochran, Mark Labertone, and Christopher Norris. So this 83, if he wants to take advantage here, he needs to find a way to get around this traffic quickly, as Danny Cochran currently runs back in 26th position, had an end-of-the-line penalty, also a drive-through penalty to start this race off. So he was back around 37th position after lap 1 was concluded, up to 26th. Not a bad spot to be at all, as behind them, that's Thomas Walter who comes to a halt.
Yeah, Thomas Walter there had a moment for sure, and even up ahead of him there, Mark Labertone, who was ahead of that group of Jackson Anderson. Danny Cochran, he had a big moment. So I think the rear tires are fading away from a lot of these guys. I see how they're exiting the corners, see how they're kind of getting in. It is definitely getting to the point of the run where everything is just starting to overheat, and we're seeing the most fall off we've seen all night.
And maybe Anderson saw something that we didn't. It's here's your weather conditions for tonight's race. Pretty similar to the way that it was during qualifying. 83 Fahrenheit for the air temperature. 115 degrees is the track temperature. That's been ebbing and flowing whenever we get a little bit of cloud coverage that floats on through. But the wind It is a high wind these drivers are dealing with, but at least it's pointing in one direction, so you're able to slightly predict on how it might influence your car in certain corners. But Zach, it's that track temp that honestly is probably spooking a lot more of these drivers that were during the practice session. It was down to about 108 at its lowest.
And it's going up too. So we'll see how this transitions. And when the track temperature goes up, folks at home, it's going to make, of course, the track surface not only hotter, but just overheat those tires even that much more. So everything you do needs to be that much more precise and that much more on the edge. And it's fun. I mean, watching here, Jarrett Talmadge, he has kept the gap pretty similar. Like right now, Clayton Montgomery, Gavin Rogers, and Jarrett Talmadge, they are all just kind of pacing within a tenth or 2 tenths of each other each and every lap. So it's been fun to watch. There's spots where I see Rogers much better than the likes of the 27 of Jarrett Talmadge, and then there's spots where I see where Jarrett's really, really fast compared to him. So if we were to get a battle here later, it gets close. It's going to be interesting to see how those different spots of the track work out for each other. So up ahead of here, got a lapper sliding as he gets passed by that leader.
Going to the outside and getting out of the way. That will be the 23 of Ryan Boucher, who's going to be seeing out that he can stay out of the way or stay where he's running. Ryan's been having kind of a rough season for himself and a lot of outside the top 30 finishes. And here tonight, road course, not helping on that matter in any way, but I think we might see this 23 show a little bit better speed in these future races as we're heading to Michigan next week, Las Vegas. It'll be a lot closer on top of each other racing action, and then we go back to semi-short track racing as we head to Richmond and then Chicagoland. Going to be the next handful of racetracks ahead of us. As here is your points leader of Clayton Montgomery. And Zach, I think a lot of eyes, when you looked at the Elwood design team, which is Clayton Montgomery and Alan Elwood, we've seen Alan Elwood before. We know that. We've seen the speed in the 9 machine before. But this one, shocking me, was not on my radar of drivers that I thought was going to be a championship hopeful. But after 3 races, he is your championship leader with 2 top 5s and 2 top 10s.
It is impressive. Yeah, he is making a name for himself. And what a good job to pick the number one, you know. Hey, just really putting I'd say a target on your back. Sometimes we have that one number just because of the way it's, held in motorsports. But he has been so impressive. I really, really have learned a lot watching him. He seems like a driver that's really got his head under his, on his shoulders. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes either. And I think that's the critical thing. If you want to compete here at Trinity, not only do you have to be good, because we have so many good fast drivers, but it's the ones that don't make mistakes. They're robotic almost in their movements of just consistency that really propels them. And that is what's going to win you things here at this track, this place. And he's definitely one of the ones that have done the best at it.
Well, I asked for who are you rooting for, and we got a couple of names out there. We got a couple of people rooting for Gavin Rogers, also Nick
he's
Croft.
in traffic.
Also going to be seeing a few others, but yeah, our leader, Gavin Rogers, a lot of trouble right now. He's got the 88 of Stephen Clapp in front of him as well. Going to be seeing Dalton Hayes. Clapp, who just got the track 30 minutes before qualifying, and he's trying to find every which way to get out of the way, but he just got caught in the worst spot possible as a lap car. Dalton Hayes trying to stay on the outside, but cuts a little bit close, and that's an unoptimal lap for Gavin Rogers. And Rogers just lost over a second and a half just through 4 corners. That is shocking to see. And Talmadge, he's trying his best to get through all of that chaos just as quickly.
And what I've watched, Rogers got the traffic this lap, but the lap before was a clean lap. He was about 4 tenths slower. So he has been losing time. I've noticed the past 3 or 4 laps about 2 to 3 tenths here in certain parts of the racetrack. I think this 27's got the tires underneath him here to maybe get up to him before we get to this first pit stop. This could get interesting, and we even have more traffic coming up. So Rogers is going to have to really reel this back in, lock in, and see if he's still got the pace here to hold off this 27 because the gap has closed down.
It certainly has closed down. A couple other people getting rooted for. TJ Yankee, of course, getting a root. We also have Ethan Smith being cheered on, Nick Renner, Richard Bolster, and Gavin Rogers. And of course, Lenny Reed, Cody Reed's dad, out there in the chat. But one driver required damage flag for himself. It's Richard Wolsifer, who had a bad wreck coming out of turn number 1.
I'll go back and check that out for myself there to see exactly what played out. But yeah, Sam, it was out of turn 1, and Looks like here we'll have it on replay for you here as he heads down into the corner. He's going to jump that curb to the inside. He's going to have a little bounce and lose the rear end. And he just, unfortunately, did not get out of it quick enough. Tried to, carry that slide. And once it hooked up, it went straight, Sam.
An engine expired. You see by the smoke, and that will force the 56 out of this race. Unfortunate to see for Richard Wolfsfer, who qualified 24th, but will not find his way finishing tonight's race. And that has been the hardest thing for this 56 team, is finding a finish line. At the end of the day, we'll see how well he can try to recover moving forward, as more drivers going to be hitting pit road for themselves. And one of those being Thomas Green hitting pit road here on lap 16. Also going to be seeing Zachary Wake hitting pit road to get service done, and Mark Labertone. Still not seeing the majority of the field. I think we're all expecting them to pit on lap 20 going into 21. But there is the Sim Sam halfway bonus point the drivers are searching for, as Ali Fonseca and is being challenged by the 9 machine of Alan Elwood, who's been slowly marching his way forward. And once again, another driver in his sights and another driver trying to get by.
It's a tough spot to be here on the inside of that corner. Does a great job to put the power down, and it actually should make this clear pass here. But Fonseca go look for the crossover. He just slams him in the rear end there by mistiming that crossover. I mean, I know what he was going for, but fortunately for Elwood, it kind of just shot him forward and out, out ahead of him.
Both were saying their sorries, as 4X given to Ali Fonseca, which means that also was given to Alan Elwood. We'll see who gets the worst of that damage. Expecting Ollie with the front end, you really don't want to be grabbing that for yourself. But talking about the halfway bonus point, a lot of points on the line for drivers there, as Sim Sam halfway bonus point, sponsored by Sim Sam. Go check out Sim Sam's content on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch, where you can see Samuel S. Garcia, and there's that 50 machine, his point of view on how he's racing here tonight. The field is continuing to race on. For when do you want to pit? Is it before the halfway bonus point, or do you pit after lap 20? And for those that are aiming for the 2-stop strategy, how well can you run down your competition with better tires? Right now, we're not seeing that crazy of a difference for, I'm looking at Jackson Anderson compared to our up front leaders. There's a slight gain that 83 has, but it just doesn't look like it's big enough, Zach, compared to what we're expecting our leaders' lap times to be once they make their pit stop.
That's for sure. I think when you see some new tires going for our leaders, you're going to see probably some of the fastest times of the day. I know it's hot out there, but as the rubber lays down here on this track, you're just going to get more gripped up here at this road course. It just always seems like these road courses just get quicker and quicker as the day goes on for the race. So I think when the new set goes on, it'll be very, very interesting to see the pace. But the question is going to be, when will that timing be for our leaders? I don't think you want to. Oh, that was close.
Aaron Krullick getting a little bit wide, and luckily Anderson able to get through.
Again, it's one of those situations here, just what the timing is going to be for these pit stops. We know we've seen some already pit pretty early. I like the call from Thomas Green to pit early there. If you're in the middle of the traffic, do that. For our leaders, though, this is where it gets tricky. I mean, it's 3 seconds separating our top 3. So really, if, say Clayton Montgomery here gets aggressive, pits early, it's going to put Rogers and, Talmadge here thinking, how much time is he going to be gaining? Because Rogers, his fastest time he's running here tonight, a 44 flat, to Montgomery's 44.6, so it's 0.6 of a second difference. But with looking at Rogers' time, we fell off almost 2 seconds of race time here. So if you pit that one lap extra, you could gain upwards of 2 seconds here per lap.
There's a lot to be gained, but a lot to be lost with this upcoming pit stop, but also big points to be grabbed. That's one thing we really haven't talked about, Zach, are the bonus points over the last couple of races. It's kind of something that always slips my mind, because we're early in the season. It's kind of the find your own footing. Halfway through, we'll really take a deeper look at where the point standings are, but let's take a look at the bonus points the drivers can earn for themselves. Getting the pole, that's 1 bonus point. Leading just 1 lap, 1 bonus point. But this is where you gain a lot. Drivers that lead the most lap, 3 bonus points. If you have the fastest lap of the day, 3 bonus points. Halfway leader, 3 bonus points. And if you win the race, 3 bonus points. There is a lot to gain if you're able to be up front leading this race all the way through.
Yeah, there's a ton to be gained for sure. And Rogers has done that so far, but he has definitely got pressure now. It's only half a second as we're looking back here at the 16 of Joshua Kanata here as he's trying to put the pressure on the 49 Ryan Bird, who has a big slide. And man, we've just seen that all throughout this racing course. Drivers having big slides.
Sliding all around. How can he make it through? A little bit of also competition inside of the top 10. As you see Gavin Rogers trying to set up how to get by the lap cars as Talmadge is right there. The 27, 75. They're battling for the lead position with a 39 of Zachary Wake right in front of him. Wake does not want to go a lap down, but it is a waiting game that's about to be thrown away as drivers continue to wait for the time that we take lap 20. That will be the quote-unquote white flag of the halfway, where whoever is leading at the end of lap 20 will grab the 3 extra bonus points. Talmadge within that half-second zone. If he's got a couple of spots on track where he can send it, try to go for that pass. But is it worth it for the long run to gain that halfway bonus point or setting up for the later half of this race? Zach, this is a critical moment. Do you pit now or the next lap or the lap after that? And it looks like we're staying another lap for the both of them. This bonus point matters for Talmadge as well for Rogers, as here we go. Whoever leads at the end of this lap is gonna find themselves with 3 extra bonus points.
That they will, and I'll tell you what, a great lap there for Rogers. He brought the lap time back down that time, was able to really solidify, but a little lock up there in the 1 that could give Talmadge just more opportunities. He overworks those tires.
Overworking just slightly, trying to find your way to go around some of these drivers into pit road. Going to be a cluster. Ryan Kelly going to be hitting pit road. Cody Reed hitting pit road for himself. And a few others deeper in the field of Joshua Sawyer going to be making a stop. He overshot his pit stall, actually had to back up for the 19. A few other drivers. That's going to be another thing. These pit stops, they are not your traditional NASCAR stalls. Might throw some people off if you're not used to making these pit entries.
It could definitely throw you off a good bit, but look at this. This could throw you off too. Look in this mirror, the 27 of Talmadge. Closest he's been since the drop of the green flag, but a little lock up there, not able to get the car wound up enough, and now he's going to lose the time to Rogers, about a second to a half a second. He lost there from that little bit of a lockup. So it just shows you the closer you get, the more tough it gets. And Clayton Montgomery, he's closed to within 2.5 seconds of our leaders. He's putting the pressure on. This is a 3-man battle all the way to the end.
It's a 3-man battle, but the gap is now up to a full second between first and second. Then it's a second and a half between second and third. They are all within eye distance of each other. They can see each other on track. They can see each other in the mirrors. But off the exit of turn number, the last corner, actually into pit road. Rogers, also Talmadge, they make the stop. They're not going for the points. That could be going to Clayton Montgomery, taking the audible call. The 1 will lead this lap and take the Sim Sam bonus point.
He loves that. He'll take that as the points leader too. He'll say, I'll just rack some more of those up. And I like this call. It puts him in a position where he's going to lose time. He needs to have a great in-lap here. This lap he has to put together perfectly, and he can't wait another lap too, Sam. I think you're waiting longer than this. They're just going to give up way too much time to have to run back down. But if anything, this will give him a little bit of fresher tires, and he can hope that those top 2 get to battling. Something like that happens. It can be very, very interesting as they leave pit road now.
20 laps to go, but it is going to be Clayton Montgomery, your Sim Sam halfway bonus point leader, who's going to get those 3 extra bonus points. And for this one, luckily he got by the lap car of Zachary Wake, so it's been cleaned air in front of him to work with. Other drivers that made their stops going to be seeing Jarrett Talmadge. He made his stop about a second longer than Gavin Rogers. He lost time through pit road, but they're running in 5th and 6th position. Ryan Kelly, who pitted sooner, is currently in 9th. Thomas Green has been able to recover up to 11th. He might gain a couple of more spots with pitting 5 laps ago. We'll see how that hurts him in the long run, with Cody Reed Christitz also pitting under this last lap. Overall, fan favorite in chat, it's been spammed around. Here is TJ Yankee, who currently runs back in 15th position, yet to make a pit stop here tonight. Well, there is the 28 machine. I know the chat's been loving to see TJ Yankee out on track, who's running a part-time schedule, only the road courses. So he's only got a couple of more races left on the schedule after tonight. And oh no, lock up and slide for Yankee, who's going to slide right in front of Nick Crawford, Clapp, and so many others. He finally gets rolling, and it's at one of the worst spots to have a slide, as that it was the hard braking zone after the S's.
On tough break. I think it was Nick Crawford who was actually coming out of pit road, so he gets held up on his outlap. That's unfortunate for him. He's going to lose a good portion of time, but now Yankee just trying to gather it up. Those tires overheated, and they're going to be evil all the way till he gets some new ones on.
Hey, Computer Curse, if you've been around us here, I understand, chat. We don't mean to do it. We try to cheer on who we can. As staying a little bit wide, it's going to be Joshua Sawyer further on the back behind the 28 team. But again, old tires expected to pit either this lap or the next. Now, if we're talking about fuel-wise, drivers can go about 30 laps-ish on fuel. They cannot take it all the way to the end of this race. You have to pit at least one time. But the gamble was, do you take tires or not? As the rest of the field still finishing up their pit stalls, it's going to be seeing the swappage of where do you want to be as Clayton Montgomery, Alan Elwood currently run 1-2, and Zach still out on track, not pitting or either one of them.
Yeah, interesting call. I mean, last time by a 46 flat for Montgomery. We'll have to see what the likes of, our leaders who have pitted before, Rogers and Talmadge, do. They'll be coming around very quickly. And I can say this also, somehow Talmadge has got really close to Gavin. I don't know if he made a mistake or Talmadge has just found some pace, but that 27 is there. Or maybe, Gavin might be playing a little bit. I need to manage better this time. Last time I was struggling.
Yeah, I mean, last time he fought for 2 laps trying to get in that lead position. Slid his tires a lot. Hurt on the long run. I know that was the main focus for the 75 over the practice, was to find good, clean laps to extend those tires further out in a run. And now with having, you had almost a 2-second gap to work with, he can manage that distance and try to save the tires a little bit more after the knowledge that he learned. Still out on track is Montgomery, Alan Elwood, 23 laps in. Zach, I don't know if they're the 1 and the 9 are waiting for a caution, but this is a losing strategy, it looks like, on the call they're making, unless they know these tires are going to fall off quickly for Gavin Rogers and Jared Talmadge. That's going to allow the 1 to close the gap quickly, or maybe he's racing a different driver that we just didn't have on our schedule.
Look at the lap time that Jared Talmadge ran. A 1:42.90. His fastest lap from our first run of this race, a 1:44.8, folks. He went 2 seconds faster on a brand new set of tires than he went all day long. So right now he's running upwards of 3 seconds faster than this one. This is going to be a huge chunk of time loss. But I will say, when he comes out, he's going to feel a benefit of those two. I just think the gap will be too much unless traffic or issues play a factor.
And that might be a reason why we're seeing Montgomery as well as Elwood continuing to stay out. They don't want to fall back into some of that traffic that the former leaders are dealing with. As there's going to be Mark Lappertone in the blue and purple 42 in between Rogers and Talmadge. But here's going to be the list of drivers yet to pit so far that still need to make a pit stop before it's over. That's going to be Clayton Montgomery in the 1 machine, Alan Elwood that run 1-2. In 7th place, we find the 99 here of Michael Miller, who is yet to pit. And then the fan favorite, you've been cheering them on out in chat. And sorry for the computer's curse, but there's the 28 of TJ Yankee in 16th, yet to pit. And then all the way back in 29th position, we find Ryan Boucher, who currently is waiting for his time. And then the last driver, who's gone for a couple of spins, Zach, this is shocking, Christopher Norris, yet to pit. After all of the mechanical errors, all the tire errors, 38 runs in 32nd, and is yet to make his final stop of the day.
How that elects to go for him, but Clayton Montgomery still out here trundling around the track, now 22 seconds ahead of Gavin Rogers. And when Rogers came out of the pit road, it was about a 28-second gap. So that gap is shrunk by about 6 seconds in the matter of only 2 laps. And that's going to continue to grow more and more as this third lap will come through for that new set of tires. It's just going to be a question, will Montgomery have something up his sleeve here for a strategy call, or will it just be looking to have something to fight with at the end?
I know we've had a couple of replays here tonight, but we do want to say thank you to Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios. It's been our replay sponsor, and as well will be our in-season tournament sponsor later on in the season. Go check out where you can get your own Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios print of either tattoo, print, full color tattoos, or stickers and more. Go look up Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios on Instagram. Yeah, you can find all of your colors once, as well as in pit road. Going to be seeing Clayton Montgomery again. Service, finally the one heading into pit road. Alan Elwood, I'm curious if he's going to stay out for another one, because that 9 machine, he's not in the most comfortable position, because he has got the fast drivers behind Gavin Rogers and Jared Talmadge that have caught him, and Talmadge down to the inside trying to get around the 75, who has been patiently trying to hold off Talmadge, but was it too much waiting as Talmadge, Rogers side by side, as now they take over the lead position into one.
Reverse roles of lap number 1, where it was Talmadge on the outside, Rogers on the inside, but it's going to be Talmadge up the inside, doing the great move there to make it stick, and he will have now control of this 75 and have some clean air on the nose of that race car. How does Rogers respond? We saw him at the beginning of the race. He was able to fight right back, get around the 27 from that lead at the beginning, but now has Talmadge learned more? Has he figured something out to hold him back?
The battle for the lead is now between this 27 and 75, as now they're heading towards the short chute, the cutoff area, where you cut the track and make it a little bit smaller. 27, just a lot cleaner. There's a little bit of tire squealing action, but Zach, overall, the 27 just looks so smooth, even with all the audio cues that say otherwise.
Definitely so. I think right now is going to be tough for Talmadge. He's got to, tough for the likes of Gavin Rogers, and the reason I say that is because now he's put in a position he hasn't been in really all night long. Yes, he did lose the lead off the start, but he was able to quickly get it back, and I think Talmadge was also kind of playing a little bit, easy at the beginning there, trying to fill out this race. I think now he's felt how he needs to drive, how he needs to manage his stuff, and I think he feels like he can push harder, and that's what has allowed him to position himself here. I think if you're Rogers, this is where, as a driver, you have to take a big, deep breath, Sam. It is so critical. I've been in this position so many times in my racing career at these road courses where you get caught and you get passed and you lose all sight and drive of how you have to drive around this course, because you're trying to fight for every little thing to get back around him. He needs to just, lock back in and just become smooth, and never know, by putting the pressure on, it could be Talmadge the one making the mistakes.
Zach, you're talking about lock back in, get back into the mix, as lap car going to see staying low. That's going to hurt Rogers, as he's got to take a little bit of a wider approach than maybe he wanted to keep it close to the 27. But I'm looking at drivers that are inside of the top 10. Trent Jump, currently in 9th place. Thomas Green, with pitting early, has bounced up to 5th place for the 3. These are big gains and recoveries after drivers that went around with some pretty nasty wrecks on lap number 1 of this race.
Well, I tell you, if Thomas Green can come out here with the top 5, that will be a great day for him, because of all the damage he has on that car. I would be feeling very, very fortunate to be in his position. And looking lap time wise, all the drivers behind him, yes, they have fresher tires, but they're not running quicker. They really are not. So I think Green right now in a good position, about 7 seconds almost ahead of Ali Fonseca, to position himself well enough to run consistently to fight for this top 5. So great job for him, and definitely tough when you have all that damage. As now Talmadge continuing to try to open the gap as the lead is swapped over to his hands, and it's his turn to see if he can run away with the lead.
Manage the difference and see where you can place yourself as the 27 continues to rally his way forward. Other battles that are happening on track. Got a battle currently for 6th, 7th, and 8th, where Alan Elwood currently rides. He's got some fresh tires, but Zach currently trying his best to get by Stitz, but overshooting the corner, getting into the 17. Both apologetic and both trying their best to take off and go. But it's the 9 with the fresher tires that looks to have the better advantage here and finally completes the pass.
Don't you love that when two drivers are coming over the radio immediately just apologizing to each other, just, not trying to cause or stir issues. Road courses, you can really upset some people sometimes if you're not, quick on that button to apologize. And I've always said this: apologizing can go a long way sometimes in sim racing. You don't really have that ability, in real life racing, other than your spotters to communicate those apologies to each other. Luckily, here on sim racing, we can kind of directly communicate with each other, and I think that can kind of help the sincerity of it sometimes, and help the later issues.
Well, the only driver yet to pit so far here tonight going to be TJ Yankee, who currently runs in 18th place, but is being passed by the competition around him that have already made their stop, have fresher tires, and the 28 nowhere to go. But battling now ahead of the 28 machine was Joshua Kanata and Larry Yingling. That was for 16th place. And other challengers around the course. You've got Ali Fonseca and Alan Elwood for 6th. Here is that going to be Kanata versus Yingling battle. And finally hitting pit road, going to be TJ Yankee, who will pull into their box and get some service done. But Zach, here's some drivers that are trying their best to have a good run, but obviously probably would have preferred if this was at an oval for the both of them.
Yeah, I talked to Larry Yingling before the race, and he said, don't show me on the broadcast too much because I'm going to be Tokyo drifting around this place. So when he told me that, I was like, man, are they sliding that much? And immediately when we got in the qualifying, I saw how much slippage there was through these corners with these race cars. And it's definitely like drifting a little bit through those S's here, definitely through a lot of these corners. So Yingling been right in the mix of it, and he's not held his qualifying position, but he's definitely in the range still to get a top 15 out of this, baby. As now he's going to have Michael Miller dive up the inside to make the move, as maybe the 67 looks for the crossover, but great job by Miller slowing up enough.
And Miller does have the better tires, about a 2-lap advantage for the 99. And, looking at a 2-lap, 4-lap advantage, that is quite a big one. The fall off on tires is quite crazy to look at. I'm looking at our leaders of Talmadge, Rogers, up against Clayton Montgomery currently. They've got a 4-lap difference on their tires, as watching the 99 of Miller trying to get around Kanata here. But Zach, it has been a consistent. Montgomery is either a half a second faster to 2 seconds faster based off the traffic our leaders deal with. That one is closing the gap. It was up to almost 10.5 seconds. Clay Montgomery, if he continues at this pace, could be with our top 2 in those final 5 laps.
Totally. I don't disagree one bit at all, Sam. And this is why you kind of play that strategy. Yes, did he give up a bunch of time, folks? Yes, he gave up a ton. But we don't know what we're going to run into here later. And if he can get some benefit, if he can get some help with some of that lap traffic just stifling them, just that little bit enough to gain some free time, if he gets there, he's going to have much more tire to utilize than, say, if he pitted with these drivers, 1 lap, maybe just difference. He would have had a very little advantage over them and been closer. But now, if he does get that little bit of help from some of this lap traffic, get some free time, he could have a huge advantage when he gets there, and it could be game on for him.
Hey, and if you're looking for an advantage out on racing, we've got 2 setup places to check out. That's Premier Racing Setups. Head on over to find your edge on the track using the promo code Renner15 at checkout. That's RENNER number 15 at checkout for 15% off. Or you can head over to Team Watson Racing Setups. Team Watson Racing Setups has been a huge sponsor for the Trinity Racing League for multiple seasons. And if you'd like us get a little bit of a discount from them, go look up Watspin39. That's WATSPIN 39 for 10% off as the field continues to race on. And like he usually does, a quiet night for the 13 of Ryan Kelly, but up instead of the top 5. Zach, this driver, every single week it feels like he is just there in the top 10 to top 5 window.
I completely agree. He's always just so consistent and doesn't make those mistakes that others do. That, some weeks, some of these guys are in position to be that consistent, but they just have those simple laps, mental lapses. And I think Ryan, being such a veteran he is here on iRacing, he just doesn't do those things. So he's had a quiet night here in the top 5, but I think if you would have told him, hey, you're going to run 4th and you're going to have a quiet night, he would have said, excellent. So definitely a great run for that 13 team. As we check back up to our leader, Sam, and guess what? They have some traffic, man. They got a couple cars right here directly ahead, but then they got about another set of 3 that this could get interesting. If I'm Rogers here, this is where I'm licking my chops saying this is back to my opportunity to do something.
And as our leaders get ready for traffic, we got to let you know of a little bit of an update for some drivers further on back. Jackson Anderson, Dalton Hayes, both opting to call it a race early for the both of them. And that might be a couple of more positions for Ryan. Going to be seeing the 23 as well as Christopher Norris in the 38. Both taking up positions away, and that never give up attitude. Hey, if we see more drivers call it quits early, a top 30 could be in their window. But there's our leaders, there's the lap traffic, and they are right on top of one another for Jared Talmadge and Gavin Rogers. But Clint Cox, that 03 is not going to be the easiest pass. He is fighting to stay on the lead lap, and Clint Cox is not a lay down, I'm done. He is fighting like every position is his, but for the first time in a while, he backs out, lets the leaders go, but has to get back in line so he doesn't lose any more ground to the competition behind him.
Definitely a fault there for a little bit, but knew better than to turn in there as the 27 had to dive up the inside. But there's 4 cars now directly ahead of our leaders, and every time they get to these newer cars, they're going to be a little bit quicker. You're going to have the likes of a Aaron Kralik, a Joshua Stovall, a Danny Cochran, a Martin Morales that are hanging on back here to the back of this group. So it can definitely get interesting here for the 27 as he's catching some faster cars now.
And as we see Talmadge and Rogers close in on this difference, we have to give you the note. Clayton Montgomery is a 5.5 seconds off of our leaders. At one moment, he was 10.5 seconds off when he pitted 5 laps ago. That one machine is running down our leaders, and this grouping of 4 drivers could be a make or break moment for the one of if they get out of the way, there might not be enough time for this one to run down our top 2. If they stay in the way, they hold up Talmadge and Rogers, and they turn this battle for the lead into a brawl. We've got ourselves maybe a 3-horse race for this win here this evening.
That's exactly right, Sam. This is going to be all about traffic management, all about consistency, lap times to the end of this race. If Montgomery gets within 3, gets within 2 seconds, he's going to smell blood in the water with those fresher tires, because he was equal pace with the likes of Talmadge and Rogers that last run. He was matching them at the end of the run. So if he can just be a little bit fresher tires and a little bit better also at that point, he can have an opportunity as we get closer to this traffic. And I got to say, Rogers, he's keeping it right close here on the back bumper of this 27, not making it easy for our leader.
No breathing room. You have to hit your marks. You have to guess right on when your competition is going to go. Is Aaron Kralik and Danny Cochran going to be battling side by side? That is not what you want to see if you're Talmadge nor Rogers, as that will woe them up. That will slow them down. Not able to get the exit that they're hoping for and continuing to fight. Kralik sees Danny Cochran in front of him. This is battling for 19th and 20th position, but the 01 thinks bigger picture and goes wide, allowing our leader on through.
Very respectable move from that 01 machine here, and we'll see what does Cochran do. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out with them. I know, Danny and Jarrett definitely on the friends side of things, and we'll see if these two keep it that way when it comes to on the racetrack. But for the time being, Cochran is still racing along. I think down into 1, I wouldn't be surprised if this 44 doesn't give to the 27.
I think if he was battling for position a little bit closer, might have made the decision to continue fighting into the corner. As I take it back, they're actually going to make almost contact between each other. That was the most backwards way I think I saw that corner going. And Danny now get a slot in between the 27 and the 75, continuing to fight for position, but finally gets out of the way right when we start the S's.
Yeah, that's... I don't want to say there's beef there between those two. Maybe a little animosity from... past events maybe between those two, but yeah, that 44 did not give the 27 much room, and he said, here you go, Rogers, you go right on by.
As we ride on board with Clayton Montgomery, a little bit less than 4.5 seconds back, and he can see the leaders right in front of him. The 2 that just finished the corner are the 2 he's looking for. Lap traffic will be Aaron Kralik as well as Danny Cochran. And now it's on to the 01 and the 44. Do you get out of the way and allow this one to have a clean shot to run down to our leaders? Because they're still not done with traffic. Joshua Sawyer going to be staying on the outside. Going to be a little bit of a pinch to Gavin Rogers. Then he has Joshua Stovall. That'll be the next driver that they're catching up to. It's not over just yet, but the difference down to 4 seconds between Montgomery to Talmadge.
We'll have to see what the lap times are here this next time around as they get through clear traffic here, as one more car for the leader of Jarrett Talmadge to just get by. That's going to be the likes of the 77 of Joshua Stovall. And then from there, they're going to have some pretty clean racetrack up to the 28 car TJ Yankee in 23rd, who's already one lap down. But Yankee also a little bit fresher tires, so he may be able to keep that gap somewhat reasonable. But if you're Talmadge here, you got to get past this 77 quickly, because you're starting to open a gap on the likes of Gavin Rogers. And Montgomery, I think, made a mistake in the final sector because it's back up to 5 seconds.
A big mistake, and also just trying to get around lap traffic. Not able to do it as efficiently, and has lost a major amount of time and is continuing to lose time, is the one machine. And it's maybe one of those things of, you're closing in so quickly, you think you're seeing how there's so much potential ahead of you to make all these moves. It just doesn't work out. Stovall goes around, and that's gonna be right in front of Rogers. Talmadge slows down, and our leaders are right back on top of each other. And just like that, Stovall's doing burnouts in the corner he was in. And that helps Clayton Montgomery for just closing in all that mistaking distance. But is it enough? It's less than 4 seconds now with Rogers on the back pressure of Talmadge. It is back on for who's going to win this race with 8, soon to be 7 to go here from Coda.
Yeah, I will never understand that decision there. I mean, you lock up going into the corner, and you still decide to cover off the inside where the leader's coming through. You're not battling anybody. They're a couple seconds behind you, the next cars. Now you go from, you know, a couple cars ahead in 16th. Now you're back to 21st for Stovall. That was not the greatest decision. And if you're Talmadge, you're just raging under the cockpit right now.
And both drivers communicated to one another on what the heck just happened between them as they're trying to figure that out. Rogers is locked in. Another chance, and maybe felt like he was losing touch, had to save the tires. Not going to be the case anymore. He is right back on the back bumper. And for the one of Clayton Montgomery, there's no more lap traffic in between him and the leaders in front. It's a 3-second difference with 7 laps to go. That last lap, with the help of lap traffic, it closed the gap back down to about 2.5 seconds from where it was before. A huge gain for the one machine that, honestly, the lap prior to that, thought his race was over for trying to win here tonight.
Shows you how fast it can swing from one end to the other for sure. And now it's going to be the question, can Talmadge put together some good laps here to try to build that gap back up? Because he had it up to 1.4 seconds to Rogers when that incident happened, and he looks like smooth sailing. His overall look of the car just looked much more in control. Everything was much tighter to the racetrack and just straighter on exit, less sliding, and that just makes good lap time when it comes to that. So I think if you're Montgomery here, you're still going to need some help to get to Talmadge, because I think getting around Rogers may be a difficult position to put yourself into.
And with the battle for the lead still underway, there's plenty of other battles that are happening throughout the track. Here's a little bit of an update of what's happening right now on course as our top 3 continue to close in the difference. Now less than 3 seconds between first back to third. There's a little bit of a battle going on for 6th place. Thomas Green being ran down by Ollie Fonseca. Then in the battle for 8th, Chris Stitz is starting to close in on Trenton Jump that you see on screen. The 46 has done a great job. Same for the 3 to get back into the top 10 where they started this race. Other close, big battles that are happening back in for 20th position. Stovall trying to run down the 01, but there's TJ Yankee, who is in 22nd position. A top 20 is possible for the part-timer making his debut here this evening for the Trinity Racing League.
That would be awesome for him. That would, I think, come out of here not only just having some fun, but having some accomplishment behind it too, because I can tell you, these guys here at Trinity, they're no joke. Running top 20 here on a road course is very, very difficult. There's guys outside the top 10 that could win in a lot of other leagues. So it just shows you the competitive level that we have here. And to be your first, kind of event here at Trinity in this type of event, he's done a great job.
He certainly has. Now has to figure out how to get by around Stovall as well as Kralik. Stovall went for the spin and the burnout, so those tires are cooked for the 77 team. Now it's just be patient and find your markers to go forward. Other close battles are starting to emerge up Battle for 11th place is starting to emerge as Nick Crawford is again heavily pressured by Cedric Hunter in the 7, who for Crawford has just been trapped behind lap traffic, and that's allowed the 7 to close in on this gap.
That it has, Crawford and Hunter, two really good friends. So this will be some good racing between them to the very end. I'm sure hard fought, but also very much close knit. So we'll see how it works for these two. But I tell you what, Sam, I didn't think Montgomery had the, enough in it to get up here, but he is flying. A 144.8 that last time by him. Our lead was a 145.7 for Derek Talmadge. If we continue on this trend and he can get around Rogers, it is game on for the one machine. He might have pulled the masterclass strategy by waiting to pit longer.
2 seconds is the difference, and they're closing up on more lap traffic. It's going to be Steven Clapp. We'll see what the 88's going to do here. He could stay wide and let our top 3 drive on by, or he can continue to race on. If we see the 88 not get out of the way here, this could be a very tricky spot of seeing Clapp slow down our leader through the S's. Where will Clapp place himself? He's going to stay wide to the outside, allowing everyone to drive on through. But that little bit of a divot spooked the 27 for a second, and that is going to allow the closing distance for Rogers as well as Montgomery. They've got to find a way to get through this field, and they're doing an excellent job with it, as now it's down to 1.3 seconds, and Montgomery within 2, but being stuck behind Rogers. This is hurting the one more than helping him.
It is. He's got to get this done quickly, and I think the biggest thing is just getting the pass done, like I said, because if he can't get around it in 1 to 2 laps, he might overheat his stuff, and that just puts you in a much worse position. And each time here he gets stuck behind him, it just holds him up just that little bit more and gives Talmadge that much more breathing time to kind of manage and prepare for a battle here later. Because, again, if you're Talmadge, you put in your head, they're going to catch me. I just need to manage from here and put together good laps, because if anything, that tire window can start to fade away as you push and try to get around the 75.
Oh, he can fade quickly, and right now with seeing Montgomery, the way that he has to race around Rogers, this is burning up his tires. That whole advantage could be tossed away, but Rogers is really one of the few drivers that can just sling a vehicle around, really overcook those rear tires, and still have good speed. And right now, the 75 is using every little bit of rubber that's left underneath them. It's getting 4 laps to go, but that simple mistake of sliding off the final corner cost him second. Montgomery is by. It's now 2 seconds the difference between going to see Jared Talmadge and Clay Montgomery. Here we go, Zach. The chase is on.
It is. He goes a little wide there and off the exit of 1, but he's feeling it now. He's got clean air up to the 27. It's 2 seconds separating our top 2 drivers, and we're only going to have 4 laps to get this done. If you're Montgomery, you've been 4 to 5 tenths quicker each and every lap, and I've got to say Talmadge has been very consistent. 145.6, 145.7, 145.6 for the last 3. So right now we know his pace. It's just gonna be a question of Montgomery, and he's made some big mistakes through sector 1 that have kind of opened the gap even more. But I tell you, he's pushing for everything.
He is pushing for everything, but the lack of lap traffic, I think, might be spooking the one machine to where he is just not hitting his marks of knowing that he can chase down the 27. I don't know if he has it in his mind, or maybe he killed the tires and there's just nothing left for him to work with. Other great battles that are happening on track. The battle for 6th place, Oli Fonseca, Thomas Green, Chris Stitz, Trenton Jump. Emerging is a couple of drivers battling against one another. The 24 and the 3 have been on top of each other for a while. Same for the 17 and the 46. They've got a little bit of lap traffic behind them that are battling for position, but this has been a fun one coming to the end on who's going to be the furthest up. The damage 3 or the 24 that has just been having an incredible road course event here this evening.
It really has been. Got to give Ollie huge credit because he did not qualify well, had that lap taken away from him. And ever since then, he has been marching himself into good position. So good job by him getting around Green, whose tires have seemed to fade. That damage will definitely make the tire wear worse, and he's running 149s right now. He's going to be under major threat from Jump and Stitz behind.
I think Jump might be the faster driver, but he currently is trapped behind Stitz. Has been doing an excellent job defending. As Cedric Hunter able to get by Nick Crawford, they've done a great job battling back and forth as the 7 just sits in wait. But looking at the difference for the lead, it is still within 2 seconds of one another. Not a lot of changing is happening, and that was the worry, Zach. Once Montgomery caught up to Rogers, was it too many laps sitting behind the 75 that allowed him to burn off the tires? He just doesn't have anything. As we look back from the 23, as we see Ryan just lingering back in 31st position, watching our leaders close in on the difference on the driver that's 2 laps down.
We're going to get a little bit more traffic. Of course, the 28 going to slide, or 23, sorry, slides wide there. That kind of probably spooked our leader. Luckily, he keeps it gathered up, doesn't lose too much time out of all that sequence. But the next car will be Josh Kanata, Mark Labertone, and I think from there we probably won't see another lap car. So maybe 2 more times possibly you'll have to lap to somebody. But Talmadge right now, he's just being consistent, Sam, and this is what I love to see from him, because that's really what you got to do for the key. When you have that driver, 2 seconds behind you, you can back up every single corner. And I'm telling you, folks, there is nothing more like calm feeling when you're at a road course and you have a couple second gap, because it just gives you breathing room to hit your marks. When you're, got that person 2 to 3, 4 tenths behind you, every braking zone is critical. If I mess up here, I make a mistake, he's going past me. And you have to attack it also to carry the speed, because of just how people race the different lines, when you're attacking each other. So right now, Talmadge is doing everything critically great. And what I'm watching is he backs up one so much to where the one gains almost a half second on corner entry, but he just reels it out back before the S's because he gets such a good drive off from backing it up.
And I'm curious if maybe that is giving false hope to Montgomery on the fact of he's closing in so much that's forcing him to feel like I need to drive in even more into each corner to maybe close in the gap, and hurting on the long run. But that distance you were talking about, how it went back up to 2 seconds, it's starting to maintain now down to 1.7. But with 2 laps to go, just a lap and a half left in this race, that is not a difference that you want to have. That's going to be telling Jared Talmadge, as long as I don't make a mistake, I've got this race in hand with a 1.5 second difference between myself and second position. I'm really not worried about Joshua Kanata being in the way. We've seen the 16 willingness to just get out of the way, let the leaders race on. I don't think we're going to be seeing Mark Labertone do anything silly either. It's just a mano-a-mano battle for these final corners, the final lap. Who's going to get it done between Jarek Talmadge and Clayton Montgomery? Comes to other battles that are happening on course is for 6th place. Ollie Fonseca heavily under pressure, but for the lead, this is it. It's been a fun one to call overall. Thank you for everyone that was hanging out in chat, that was cheering on Yankee. But up front, it's Jared Talmadge looking up the flag stand. It will be your Team Watson Racing setup. White flag, just one more flag to go, one more lap around, and this is it for Jared Talmadge to be the first driver to have 2 wins this season. Zach, he just needs to be perfect, and really, even if he makes a mistake, he's looking good for victory.
Oh, no doubt. He is looking great right now. He just needs to hit his marks. No major lockups. That's the key. Do not lock the brakes up. Back your corner up. Use less brake. Do everything in your power. He's got to gain 1.6 seconds on you, and that is it's going to take a mistake at that point. So if I'm Talmadge, I am sitting here breathing a sigh of relief. I've always felt at road courses when I have a gap like this, I just felt that comfort and peace. And right now, he's just putting together a perfect last lap.
Everyone else being given the white flag, but up front, it is Jared Talmadge up to a 1.7 lead gap. And it was around this point last season where Jared Talmadge was questioning, was he the driver that everyone else had to stop, had to beat, or was it going to be someone else that had to step up? And Zach, problem for Gavin Rogers. Last lap, the 75 is disconnected from the race. We will not get a top 3 finish. Ryan Kelly moves up into 3rd. The 75 is not in the server anymore. And with it being the white flag, he cannot get back in the server. He will finish all the way back to 16th or worse, as that is a terrible moment for the 75. But Trent, I've seen Jared Talmadge, what a run for himself. The 27 found his way up front, had to challenge and beat Gavin Rogers here tonight. Once he got the lead, he never looked back. Our first 2-time winner this season is Jared Talmadge in the 27.
What a drive, man, from him. He had pressure all through, had hiccups with lap cars. Look, he said, I'm celebrating now. He knows how big this
But
one
he better be
was
careful because we're not done with this race. You could get
true.
disqualified. There is also a battle happening on track for 5th position. That's Ollie Fonseca, Trenton Jump, Thomas Green, Chris Stitz, all on top of each other. 4 drivers, all trying to get the final couple of positions for themselves. Who's going to get the top 5? Jump has been fighting to get into this top position. Does he have one corner, one dash? Thomas Green sends it for everything, and it's Ollie Fonseca getting the top 5. But what a run for Jump and Green, who were on top of each other from the start to the end, and they will finish 6th and 7th for a piece. Wow, that was some fun racing back there for 5th place. But Jared Talmadge, burn it down, have some fun, and a call from Rev. Gavin Rogers' sim died, meaning he just crashed out on the last lap of the race.
That's heartbreaking to see for him, man. Definitely not what you want to see for a guy like that. It was, having a great run like that. I know he's going to be disappointed with even running 3rd, but now he's going to even be more disappointed.
And he'll have to try to recover from that one. But for Jared Talmadge, Clayton Montgomery, the drivers that were 1st and 4th in points, well, that difference gets a little bit closer between the two of them. And Ryan Kelly, keeping himself out of trouble, well, gifted a prize at the end. Top 3 finish for the 13. And for us, we will step away when we come back. It's the post-race show. We will talk to our top 3, Jared Talmadge, Clayton Montgomery, and Ryan Kelly, get their thoughts on tonight's race. But man, was it a crazy one. The Texas Showdown, presented by Sim Sam, is the 27 of Jared Talmadge taking the victory at the end of the day. Good one overall. But for us, we'll be back right after this for the post-race show. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, from the Trinity Racing League, presented by Larry Arts Production post-race show. Race 4 is in the books. Your Texas Showdown, presented by Sim Sam, is over and done. And man, was it a showdown between Jared Talmadge, Clayton Montgomery, and Gavin Rogers. End of the day, it goes to Jared Talmadge, taking it all. The 27 had to work. He had to claw and take this fight to the top. And he got it done. Once taking the lead, no one else could try to compete with them. Jared, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. What a run for yourself. That was a blast to call and watch. But how are you feeling after finishing these 40 laps and being the Texas Showdown winner?
Oh man, I'm tired. That was a long race. I to be honest, based off my interview last race, I did not expect to be in this position. I called it a bye week. So going 1-0 on your bye week's pretty good. But no, that was an awesome race. Just that first half there, just trying to stay with Gavin. Honestly, I kind of thought he was a little bit better than me there, but I got lucky to close in on him late there, and then I got very, very lucky that he got held up behind Allen going into the second to final turn. I was able to get down his inside, and I mean, I know how much clean air does matter in these races a little bit just from the dirty air, but I not expect to hold the lead once I got it, but surprisingly, I was able to pull away a little bit. And I got to apologize to Stovall. I don't know if you guys caught on the broadcast. I accidentally spun him around in turn 6. I thought he was giving me the inside there, so I apologize to him. Hopefully that didn't cost him any spots. But yeah, I was surprised I was able to hold the lead. And like after that, I kind of turned my attention to Clayton there. He did the strategy I was going to do originally, and I really thought he was going to get there. I could not believe we were able to hold him off.
Definitely a great job by you holding them off there, Jared. I mean, had to be consistent all the way down to the very end, especially with that scare getting through lap traffic. And that's kind of where I was going to go is, this track's so unique kind of to a lot of the other road courses where it kind of stacks up with, groups and pods of lap traffic here. And just with the way the slow speed corners are through some of these sectors, how was it navigating that all night? It was kind of ebbs and flows of catching them where you didn't want to and where you did.
Yeah, it was certainly tricky, like you said, catching somewhere you don't and do. I got a couple lucky ones when I was trying to chase down Gavin at the start, and then I got a couple unlucky ones. I know Gavin had a run in with one. I did. It's really tough. Like when they're by themselves, it's usually okay because you can kind of just get a gist of where they're gonna go. But if they're in like a group of 2, 3 cars, you don't really know if they're gonna let you go or if they're still trying to get the guy in front of them, or especially if they're racing. We came across 2 racing there earlier. It's tricky because the track's wide, but it's not very wide racing line wise. There's a lot of marbles on the outer edge, and after I spun Stovall around there, I drove into the marbles to get around him, and I mean it took 2 laps just to be able to put the power down normally again. So you really just want to stay off the marbles. So it was pretty hard getting around lappers. A lot of them were very respectful of the leaders and let it go, but you just really did not want to go off the racing line.
Well, Jared, we have next week off, so technically we have a bye week for you to actually have in a way. But our next race is going to be Michigan, Las Vegas. I mean, now that you got the first driver to have 2 wins this season, how are you trying to carry this momentum into the next couple of races where we know it's going to be a lot of pack racing and drivers on top of each other?
Yeah, it's certainly going to be the complete opposite of here. Michigan, I really look forward to. It's my home track. I have a lot of rough luck there though, so I look forward to it. Hopefully, I could turn my luck around and get a win there. But I mean, the next couple of races are just are they mile and a halves? Was that correct there?
It's going to be Michigan, Las Vegas, and then Richmond. The next 3.
So, Michigan, I mean, I'm good there. I just have rough luck. Vegas is one of my favorite tracks on the Xfinity car for mile and a half, and then Richmond's probably my best short track. So it's 3 very good tracks for me coming up. So I mean, obviously, I'd like to continue the momentum of just the I believe top 3 finishes ever since the Daytona. So if we can just keep it up, win a couple more, and just set ourselves up better for the playoffs.
Well, we can't wait to see how you're performing those future races, Jared. Congratulations on the win here tonight. And now the floor is yours for any other shout-outs.
Yeah, I'd like to shout out to Gavin for the battling all race long. That was fun. I believe his sim crashed in the last lap, so that is very unfortunate for him. But like shout out you guys for putting on the broadcast. I enjoy going back and watching them back, and this will be another one that I'll have a good time going back to watch back. Like shout out Zach for the paint. That's 2 now. We're gonna keep going hopefully. Shout out to the hold on, I gotta get the team name correct. I don't want to butcher this. Thunder Valley. Shout out to those guys for once again. I believe just gonna be in their VC all season. So shout out to them for letting me hang out with them all season and kind of be a co-teammate to them. And shout out to Josh and Nick for putting on the league.
Well, that'll be the 27 machine of Jarrett Talmadge coming away with the victory here from the Texas Showdown presented by SimSam. Jarrett, congratulations on this victory. Enjoy the break next week, and good luck in 2 weeks when we're at Michigan.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
As we move from victory lane, we go down to second place to talk to the driver that, honestly, we had us scratching our heads for a bit and then had us on our seats cheering him on to run down our leader. It's going to be Clayton Montgomery with us. Clayton, that was a call to stay late, take the tires, and try to run down our leaders. It was a blast to watch you try to run them down, but just seemed like you needed a couple of more laps to get it done. But how are you feeling after coming away second here tonight?
I mean, first is better, but I'll take second. Had a good qualifying in third, and just kind of my game plan was to run just a little bit longer. Just from previous races, I knew that in my favor, how I drive, that if I ran long, that I would have the at least the ability to run them down. I was kind of hoping that Jarrett and Gavin would get out of the pits and either race each other or kind of get in traffic and slow them down a little bit. That way, with about 3 or 4 laps to go, I could have an opportunity, be close enough, and make some passes. But I think I burnt my fronts up just a little too much there at the end, and for those slow corners, I just didn't have enough turn to roll through the corners and gain there on Jarrett like I wanted to. But like I said, I'll take a second any day of the week.
Definitely a hard fought, Clayton, man. I tell you what, it was so fun to watch you guys battle. The top 3 was, I mean, so impressive with the consistency you guys showed. Of course, like you said, you went long, and you're running them down there at the end. Kind of take us through your mind. Did you feel like it was coming to you, especially when you saw lap traffic being a big factor all night? Was that kind of running through your mind even a little bit as a factor?
I mean, yeah, for both ways. I was hoping it would slow them down, and then with me, with them being the leader, usually people race them a little bit harder. Me being third, I could kind of get some grace and people just let me by, but didn't go that way every single time. But I mean, that's just part of racing, and it's kind of like each, one lap I'd have a good lap, and then the next lap I'd have a little bit of a slower lap, and it was just one of those things of it was a back and forth, and it was, I don't want to say lap traffic was gonna affect it, but it could have went either way. But luckily, it wasn't nothing too serious. Nobody got wrecked out from the lap cars or nothing. So good clean racing up front.
Well, Clayton, in 2 weeks, we're heading to Michigan. That's going to be our next race on the schedule. At the sister track of Auto Club, you came away third that night. Do you feel like the win that is just looming over you, you might be able to get that this next race? Or is there a different track that you have circled on schedule that you're truly looking for to try to get into victory lane with?
It won't happen in Michigan. I'll be there, going out for vacation. But I mean, honestly, for the schedule, any race, I feel like I can have at least the opportunity and the ability to win. I know there's some pretty good guys in here. I would like to say, kind of, if you run up front, eventually you'll get a win. That's kind of my mindset. So if I just keep running up front, maybe one of these days I can get a little bit of luck and a little bit of skill and get up there. But it won't be at Michigan. But hopefully get one in there before the season ends.
Well, we can't wait to see when that moment happens, Clayton. And before we let you go, the floor's now yours for any other shout-outs.
Shout out to y'all for broadcasting this, taking time out of y'all's evening to do this. Shout out to our Elwood Designs team, Simrat Market, and Alan for making the paint, Roderick Racing Development, everybody else in the league puts it on, makes it fun.
Well, that will be Clayton Montgomery coming away second here tonight. First place is calling his name. We'll see when that happens later on. Clayton, congratulations on second place, and we'll see you when you're back out on track again.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too. As we move from second, we go down to third, which, coming down to those final laps wasn't on the listing of we're going to talk to him in third place, but due to Gavin Rogers having a sim crash on the last lap, the driver that we said was having a quiet night, but a good night, Ryan Kelly, coming away third here this evening because of the misfortune of others. Ryan, I mean, you'll take a third place finish in that type of a moment, but man, how are you feeling? Because it looked like you're kind of in no man's land for most of the night.
Yeah, first off, shout out to Gavin. He definitely should have been here and given this interview, but I'll take it. I wasn't sure what happened to him, and then you just said computer issues, but I was happy to be running fourth there. I started in fourth, and then once it kind of spread out in the beginning, and I was really happy to be up front, and my first race this track, so really fun track and a really difficult one, so I didn't really expect to be this high up, but once the race started and everything spread out, just tried to keep consistent, and I can't believe I'm talking to you guys right now.
Yeah, it's an awesome job, Ryan, man. Congrats on getting this top 3 here. I'm sure ecstatic from your side of things, getting the first race here, that. And, you talked about difficulty. We've seen a lot of guys sliding around tonight. How tough was it to get around this place? Because it seemed like, it was leaving tire tracks pretty much in every corner with some of these guys.
Yeah, it was really, really difficult. I think the tires mattered a little more tonight than they normally do at the road courses. And I don't know if it was just a mixture of really slow corners and then fast corners, and just sometimes having to keep the momentum and sometimes having to take certain corners certain ways, but it was definitely a challenge, and they was tearing up the tires. I was a couple seconds slower when I pit in there, I think, at the pit stop. So, yeah, tires were key, and I knew that and was just trying to take care of them most of the race, and I think it paid off.
You know, Ryan, looking at your team as a whole, it's kind of exciting to see most of you guys sticking together with Thunder Valley and, you know, bringing on Cedric Hunter onto the team. But you also are having Jared Talmadge in the VC call. What is it like having a driver that now has 2 wins with the team that you guys have already been showing so much consistency with this vehicle?
Yeah, it's definitely nice to have more drivers this season. So I can lean on some different guys and get some different perspectives that we wouldn't have in the past. And yeah, Jared, I think with 2 wins already, so he's definitely someone we can lean on and learn from. And yeah, it's good to have those guys there. Great guys, and enjoy racing with them every week.
Well, we enjoy watching you guys racing out on track. Ryan, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, shout out Jarrett for the win. All my teammates tonight. You guys putting on a great show. Also had some family watching. Thanks, Thunder Valley Steel Coat, for coming on board this season, and looking forward to next week.
Well, that will be the 13 machine from Ryan Kelly coming away 3rd here tonight. Ryan, congratulations on the finish, and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks when we head to Michigan.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
As that will finish up our interviews here this evening. Certainly a bizarre one that we weren't expecting, with seeing Gavin Rogers' computer, the sim, crashing on him on the last lap. But that's not the first time we've seen issues for Gavin. So he's got to figure out what is ultimately causing those issues and get that fixed so he can try to race for a championship this season. But for us here this evening, let's move on over to our unofficial results here tonight, because it certainly had its ups and downs. And there were a couple of drivers on the brink of disqualification with having too many incident points. Joshua Sawyer, Martin Morales, 1 point away from being disqualified from this race. So both of them luckily salvaged it at the end. But up front, going to be Jared Talmadge taking the victory from the Texas Showdown presented by SimSam, with Clayton Montgomery in 2nd. 3rd was Ryan Kelly. Alan Elwood going to take 4th. Ali Fonseca, top 5 finish in the road courses. I thought he was going to be a driver to watch out for. He was concerned about it, and he'll accept that 5th place finish with the Gruelers behind him of Trenton Jump, Thomas Green. They had a great duel of recovering all throughout tonight, with Chris Stitz coming away in 8th. 9th goes to Cody Reed, which he got what he was looking for, a goal of a top 10 finish. And Cedric Hunter in the 7th, able to move his way up for a top 10 run.
Definitely some great runs there in the top 10, Sam, but gotta give a shout out to Nick Crawford right outside there in the 11th, and same for Samuel Garcia. That was a hard fought battle for him in 12th, but Gavin Rogers going to, looks like, end up 16th at least on my side of the things, the last car on the lead lap. So tough for him, man. I know he's going to be beating himself up for a while with, you know, how he wanted this event to go, leading the first few laps, but sometimes it's tough out there on the racetrack when you got really high competition like we do here. But as we go through the rest of the word, Sam, it's definitely action-packed night here for a few, and drivers just glad they could cross the start-finish line, I think, because of how difficult this track was.
Yeah, talking about how some drivers, when they enter a road course, they hope that it is over and we're on to the next race as soon as possible. And that's what some of these drivers further on back are excited for. Unfortunately, 33 of Trevor Benz not able to start here tonight, and then troubles for other drivers. But moving forward, we got more racing action here for this week, as tomorrow night going to be the final time for season 6 for the BRB Sundance Pro Series that we will be calling on Tuesday nights as they head to Sonoma. Also this Thursday we are off for the 802 Elite Racing League, so they will be off this week. We'll be back next week Thursday nights, but then next week we're off Monday, which I kept on reading the schedule wrong. I thought we were off in 2 weeks. No, we are off next week, so we'll be back broadcasting in 2 weeks, so that should be fun. But Zach, I think for these drivers, they got a good test of the first 4 races of the season. You know what the newcomers have, what they're offering. Now it's time to take this week off. You either focus up, get ready for the rest of the season, or you might be left behind very quickly.
No, you're exactly right. You can get gobbled up very fast here early in these seasons and be in a deficit that you don't want to be able to try to dig out of. So They're going to have to get it together. This off week coming up, like you said, will help. I think for a few of these guys, of course, we had some guys miss out tonight who couldn't make it, had to take provisionals. It's just going to be a very interesting next stretch of the schedule because it's getting into, like, as they would say, you know, if you're at dinner, the meat and the potatoes of the dinner, because this is getting down to where you really are going to have to start making that push to make sure you're above 16th if you want to be in that chase.
There's a lot of hard races you have to deal with, but there's a lot of traditional ones also left on the schedule. But for us here tonight, and also for the rest of the season, we do want to say thank you to the sponsors that wanted to tag on board for Season 3 of the Trinity Racing League. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to the title sponsor of Larry Arts Production. If you're looking for a fun comedy routine, a food review, or stop motion fun, go check out Larry Arts Production on YouTube and all social medias. Gotta say, if you haven't watched any of Larry Arts Productions clips, content, go check it out. That guy is a funny and a genius when it comes to content. Also, go say thank you to Blazing Fast TV for a poll and grid sponsor, SimSam as our halfway bonus sponsor, the Premier Racing Setups for cautions, Orchiding Tattoo Studios for replays, and the midseason tournament, which should be starting up here very soon. And we finally want to say thank you to Team Watson Racing Setups for being our white flag sponsor. It was a pleasure to give you the call here from Texas. A lot of different opportunities of going for the wins, chances to hold off other drivers, but Zach at the ultimate, it was Jarrett Talmadge that finds the speed, the first driver to have 2 wins this season. I mean, he's doing exactly what he did at the start of last season, which is be the head driver to watch out for.
Yeah, he really is, man. I'm super impressed by Jarrett. We've watched Jarrett grow. On these Monday nights, really, I would say more than anything is, from ISRC days. So it's been a pleasure to watch that. And, there's a reason why I picked him tonight. I really just felt like he was going to be consistent. And that's what I've watched from this kid the last few times, seasons here, really Trinity. He's just been super consistent and he doesn't really make too many mistakes, actually. So it is super impressive. I think he put together a full race, but got to give a shout out to also Clayton Montgomery, man. I think he stormed onto the scene as knowing, hey, when we go to Spa, when we go to Road America later this season, he's going to be a factor at those places too, because this is a very technical and difficult track. So I'm super impressed. And shout out to, of course, Gavin Rogers for putting on a show up front. Unfortunately, the troubles there with the computer, but he still put on a show. Those guys were excellent. And then everybody else also. We had some great racing all throughout the field. It was really, really fun. And, we continue that action at road course racing tomorrow night with BRB. So I'm excited for that also.
Yeah, tomorrow night, you do not want to miss the second race of the chase. Last week at Bristol, there was some controversy at the end, but will it be solved tomorrow night? We'll find out and see as we give you the last time we're giving the call for the BRB Sundance Pro Series for Season 6. We'll hand off the reins to a different broadcast crew, but it certainly was a pleasure to call Tuesday nights. But for us here on Mondays, we have next week off. We will be back in 2 weeks for Michigan. So you do not want to miss that one. I think Michigan and Las Vegas, the one after that, those are racetracks that have produced last lap passes. You do not want to miss when we come back. But for this evening, for myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you so much for joining with us on your Monday nights as we give you the coverage of the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry Arts Production. Race 4 is in the books, and it's the 22 of Jarrett Talmadge grabbing his second win of the season. A great way to start things off, but he's only second in points behind Clayton Montgomery. The drivers get a week off. They'll be back for Michigan and the Irish Hills. But for us, we've got more racing action. You don't want to miss it. Tomorrow night, our last call of Season 6 of the BRB Sundance Pro Series. We head to Sonoma. Who is going to be setting up race 2 of the chase on the right foot? You'll have to find out tomorrow night here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting.
I was standing, staying still, never said what I feel, and every time I took the blame, carried all this quiet shame. Cause all the pressure in my chest, I've gotta fight to catch my breath. When every step still feels the same, trying not to break. Where do I go from here? Maybe I'll disappear. If I don't try, I'll never know. I'm waiting on you. Where do I go from here? There will be no more tears. Kill the doubt, feed the fire, hear the voice inside. It's my turn this time. They took a shot, now I want mine. You fall, I rise, I take the wheel. So this is how it feels. Where do I go from here? Maybe I'll disappear. If I don't try,